What's up, YouTube? It's Carolina Calvin coming back to you with another video. In this video I want to talk about the PlayStation 5, which we can assume is going to be called the PlayStation 5. I mean, they stuck to their naming conventions up to this point. No reason to change it. Without getting heavy tech, I'm gonna go down all the specs, which these specs were revealed Tuesday. Couldn't get a video out that day, but I just kind of thought about it. I was like, man, I haven't talked about gaming in a while, and this is the perfect news to talk about. Without giving heavy tech on you, start with the CPU. It's a 3rd generation 8-core Ryzen 7. They still didn't go into specifics. I guess if you look it up, you can kind of get an idea of how it would be, but obviously it's gonna be different than the CPUs that you'll look up. GPUs, this one they went into it's based on the a custom AMD Navi GPU, and I believe Navi is a code name, so it doesn't mean we don't even know the actual name of those particular GPUs, because I don't think they've come out yet. And it's supposed to support ray tracing. Without giving you talking too much about that, it's pretty much a rendering technique that allows for more realistic lighting and shadows, and that's the best way to explain it without talking your head off about it. Audio, they even talked about audio, 3D audio. Mark Cerny didn't really go into details, but I assume he did say something about it's gonna have more immersive experience. So if you got a top of the line headset, Turtle Beach, stuff like that, or of course you got the sound system, which a lot of people do have. I guess better sound. Again, we'll hear more about that, but that's what I'm assuming what it is. Storage. The PS5 will now support solid state drives, and the biggest thing a solid state drive does is cut down on load times for games. They even tested it on Spider-Man. It's written right here in the article. By the way, the article, well, a bunch of news websites, gaming news websites have the articles, but I think they did the interview with the Wired. That's where they pretty much gave all the specs out. But the demonstration they did with the solid state drive, it was kind of like it was on a PS5 like dev kit. They played Spider-Man on PS4, which that's another big feature that I'll get into. That's a big deal that we kind of saw coming because it was rumored. But 15-second load time on the PS4 went down to 0.8 seconds on the PS5 dev kit. So you're gonna see better load times with the games, which is definitely a big thing. Will we get a 500 gig SSD, or will we get a terabyte SSD? Because you remember when the PS4 dropped, you got 500 gigs as a regular hard drive. I think these companies are starting to move to the solid state because it reads and writes faster. Your regular hard drives, yeah, you can get a lot of space for less money, but it's just not as fast. And with larger files being moved around nowadays, you need that speed. You need that speed. I think that's a big reason why they go on solid state instead of the regular hard drive. Resolution. They were talking about 8K. Now, I don't know. I personally don't know anyone with an 8K TV, but that's gonna be the new thing in the coming years. So they're kind of building up for that, getting ready for that. So it makes sense why they would do it. Obviously, it's gonna do 4K. It's gonna do 1080p or whatever. I'm wondering, will it have different modes, kind of like the PS4 Pro, where it had different modes you can switch to with the games? That's one thing. Of course, they didn't really give that, but when they do talk about it in full detail, maybe they'll talk about something like that. My biggest thing is, and it was kind of like last generation, this generation, because it's still in this generation, when they talked about those mid-cycle upgrade consoles. 4K was the big thing they were talking about. My thing was, can it run 1080p 60? Now that they're talking about 8K, can it run 4K 60? Because we know it can run 1080p 60, but can it run 4K 60 based on the specs that they've given us? It better be able to run 4K 60 if they're talking about 8K 30. I don't expect 8K 60, but I'm expecting 4K 60. I mean, that's That's just me. A lot of people, more people are getting 4K TVs. They're getting cheaper, so you're gonna see a lot more people with 4K TVs, so more so than 8K. So will it run 4K 60? Is the big thing I want to know. PSVR will be supported. Not surprised. I think it did better than their expectations. You know, VR is a niche thing, but I think for because PSVR is what, like 300 or something like that, and I think it met their the sales goals for it. They even had the last what was it called, the little Sony event. I can't remember exactly what it's called. They showed it was pretty much about PSVR. They had the Iron Man game. They had, you know, some other games up there. But I'm not surprised that they are supporting it. I mean, you invested a lot of money in it. It's done well enough for them. So just support it for your next platform. Might even get better. Who knows? Not a big VR person. You know. It won't be something I'll spend money on. Next one, the biggest one. I wanted to save this one for last, but all the rumors we've been hearing for months, the patents and stuff like that. But the PS5 will support backwards compatibility with the PS4 games. Now, that was one thing that the PS4 obviously didn't have with the PS3, and their whole excuse was like, one, they were trying to sell PlayStation Now, which is total garbage. Two, they were probably trying to sell, like, resell people remasters and stuff like that. But the one they always said, the PR spin was that the architecture of the PS3 is vastly different than the PS4, which is true. But a company that makes that much money, you can find a way. But that is true. The PS3's architecture is completely different than the PS4's. But the PS4 and the PS5 architecture is very similar. So this was almost a must. And it kind of eases people over into that next generation. You know, moving from PS4 to PS5, because you can still go back and get PS4 games and play them. And I almost expect, I know people don't want to hear this, but like games like Ghost of Tsushima, Last of Us 2, probably Death Stranding, to have kind of like, I don't know if you remember Twilight Princess, which came out on GameCube. Then right after that, like soon after that, it came out on the Wii. I think they're gonna do something like that with maybe not all of those games, but I think one of them, maybe two of them, it is gonna be like that. It's gonna be kind of like a simultaneous release, where it's gonna be on PS4, it's gonna be on PS5. PS5 is obviously gonna be the better version, but you know, you can play on PS4. And you ask this, like, why if you have backwards compatibility, why would you do that? Well, people may want the upgraded one, but Nintendo got a pass for doing it as well. If you remember, the game I just brought up, Twilight Princess, it was on GameCube, and then there was another release on the Wii version of it. The Wii was backwards compatible with the GameCube, even had ports for the GameCube controllers. Nintendo's been able to get away with it. I don't see why Sony can't get away with it now. Another big thing, people are always speculating about it. We obviously didn't get a release date, but the price, we didn't get that either. And Sony's not going to be at this year's E3, so we're not going to get a price this year. Maybe at the earliest, maybe they do that thing at the end of the year. Hopefully, it's not a bunch of old dudes sitting on couches talking. We want to actually see something. If you're going to talk about this, talk about the PlayStation 5. But you know, the big thing is price. You know, people are speculating all over Twitter. What's the price going to be? You know, yeah, people say, what they were talking about is going to be 500. You know, you even have people say, with the solid state drive is going to be 500. You know, even with just totally not the CPU or the GPU is not going to increase their price that much. But I think if they're waiting until 2020, obviously that'll decrease the price. I'm not expecting more than 450. I think they've become pretty smart, and they know that magic number is 400. You know, that's what they released the PS4 at, and it did really well. But I don't expect more than 450. I'm not expecting 500. I think they know that that's definitely at the beginning of a you know, when you're coming out with a console, that 500 price, it's not a good price. You know, it worked with, you know, the Xbox One X, because you had the Xbox, you know, you had the OG Xbox One, you had the Xbox One S already at a cheaper price, so you can get those if you want a cheaper one. When you're launching it, and this is the only one at, you know, the only SKU that you can get at 500, I don't think that'll work. So I'm guessing at the max 450, but I think they want to stay at around that 400 mark, because that's the ideal price for most people that's buying one. You know, people want to see that $400 price point. I think they've said there aren't going to be like other SKUs. It's not going to be like an all digital one. They're going to have one with a disk drive or whatever. It's funny that they brought that up, and Microsoft had just came out with like the digital Xbox One S. But that's really all they really said about it. Just kind of came out the blue. You know, I went on Twitter on Tuesday and saw that. I was like, wow. And they actually talked about the PlayStation 5. Now, obviously, rumor is it's gonna come out next year, which, like I said, that's where most people was guessing that the earliest is coming out in 2020. But now we gotta see what Xbox is gonna do. We gotta see what Xbox is gonna do. What's the name of their next console with the specs and stuff. I do think we hear something about it. At least talk about the specs at E3. Maybe not show off anything. And they're gonna try to release. They usually try to release around the same time as PlayStation. You know, it was different with PS3 360. With 360 came out a year before, but I think they want to stay around PlayStation. Same with Sony. They want to kind of stay around at the same time as the Xbox. And it's their best competition right there. Well, let me know what you think down in the comment section. PS5 specs, you know, backwards compatibility, which is the big one. Will it play at some point? Will it be able to play? Kind of go back to your PS3, PS2, PS1 games. I think that's unlikely. But having the PS4 as backwards compatible, you know, playing those games on your PS5, I think that was the big one that people really wanted. But let me know what you think down in the comment section. If you like this video, hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. Thanks for watching.